Hello, 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 hello. It's Robin Da Vinci again. I am actually live right now, sitting in my office, and I am working passionately on my teen money literacy program. And today I want to touch on several things, and they all are starting with a C. So I'm calling it C's are more important than A's and B's today. And it's really important for teen money literacy, but it's also important for parents. People say to me, "Oh, I don't know if I can afford to have a child." And I understand that having a child is extremely expensive. I have three. And I want to say 0 to about 15 or 16 is way less expensive than 16 to 30. And you'll say, 30? Why in the world would I still be giving my children money at 30? And I'll tell you, you're going to be giving them money till they're 30 because the world is a lot tougher on children now. When I was young, and that was a very long time ago, when you turned 18, you could get a decent job, get in at the bottom line, and then move up in the company and actually have a good job. But now those things aren't available anymore. If you're lucky, you get a part time job and it doesn't pay very well. But more importantly than the way the world has changed, teenagers haven't. And I said that in some other videos. Teenagers have not changed at all, not since the beginning of time. That age group called teenagers into young adulthood has remained the same forever. But what goes on around them has changed drastically. And what parents have to do to take care of their children and make sure to ensure a good future for their children is really, really different. And it's very important. So I called them the big C's. And it's the really important part of money literacy for teenagers. The first one, of course, is cash. What in the world are your children doing with their cash? Do you give them cash? And if they have cash, where did they get it? Cash is a very big thing because it's not easily traceable. And kids borrow money from each other and they get cash from various places. They can do odd jobs in the neighborhood. They might have grandparents who hand them cash. I know I give my kids and my grandkids cash a lot. Just, spending money. I want them to be, comfortable to be able to buy lunch or a snack or buy some gas or whatever. So I know I'm guilty of that too. Cash is king when it comes to teenagers. The second thing is credit cards. What do you do if you have a teen who has a part-time job, who drives your car, and you need them to have some security because you can't be there every minute? So you get them a credit card from your credit card. You can actually call a credit card company and get a credit card for your child. They'll have a different number on it, but it will be linked to your card, but it will be linked to both your social security numbers. That's really a good thing to do if you have a responsible teenager. They need to have that, but they also need to pay for it. That's the part that parents forget to do. They get the privilege of a credit card without the consequence, another C. No, there's got to be a consequence for everything they do with money. So then you talk about cars. Oh my goodness. Do you get them a car when they're able to drive? Do you let them get a license if they don't have a job and can't pay their own insurance? Are you putting that car on your insurance if you're getting them one? Are you stipulating they have to have good grades to be able to have that car, and that they have to get driver's ed, driver's training, and they have to understand the rules and follow them? That's another one. So we've got cash, credit cards, and cars. The next thing is that the minute you get a social security number for your child, they're in the system. They're in the system. So once they start doing things on their own, their credit card, their credit score, their cars, their cash, it'll all be affected by what they do. So teach your children about credit scores. And this is very important. Some parents don't know about their credit score. They don't know that they're allowed to get a credit score for free once per year by law. You have to run your credit score. You have to find out what's on your credit score before you can tell your children. And then your children have to understand what it means to have a credit score. And it follows you wherever you go. So credit scores following you around, ruining your ability to get a car, ruining your ability to get a lease on an apartment, ruining a job. Because now, as I said before in another video, if your child goes after college or when they're an older adult to apply for a job, jobs check your social media, your credit scores. They want to see if you're a solid person. If you're up to your eyeballs in debt, they could turn you down for that reason alone, especially if you're in a money oriented field of business. They could say, no, you're a risk. We are not letting you in. So your credit score can affect you. Then we have co-signing. Okay, parents, listen up. It is so unlikely that you will get out of the years between 15 and 30 without co-signing on something, whether it's for your kids or a grandchild or a neighbor's child, a best friend. I cannot tell you how many times I was asked in the past to do a co-sign for someone. Usually it's a young person who wants a car and their parents are refusing, and they come to me and say, would you co-sign, please? And I almost all but 2 times I said no. I cannot co-sign because here's what co-signing means. It means you are as liable for that debt as the person whose name is first on that debt. So if they drop out, if they back out, if they disappear, that loan, that debt is yours, and it will go on your credit score. I'll give you an example. I have someone close in my life who co-signed on a motorcycle for a friend because the parents had bad credit and the son needed a motorcycle, and they co-signed. Well, they made all the payments but 2, and at the end it kind of fell apart, and the person close to me had to cover it and did so, but it was on the credit score of this person for a long time. Those 2 missed payments affected his credit score, even though he was told they would never miss payment. It's not a bad thing to co-sign, but you have to sit down. Communication, another C. Communication, consequences, communication. Whenever you do anything, in order to have teens have money literacy, there has to be communication. If you're someone that doesn't have money literacy, it's going to be very, very difficult to hand that off to your child. So all the C's: cash, cars, credit cards, credit scores, co-signing, communication, consequences, and your children. It is a big deal. It is a very big deal. Now, I happen to have a lot of experience. I'm an accountant. I've been in bookkeeping since I was 17 years old out of high school. I've always been a cash flow kind of person. I watched my mother, who was very, very literate with cash, managed to make $350 a month back in 1959, go further than anybody could imagine $350 would go back then. She was very, very good with her cash, and she made it work. Now, we had nothing growing up, so I come from a very poor background. So I know what I'm talking about when I tell you that you're going to have to help your children. I did not get any assistance from my parents. My father left when we were young, and my mom did all the work, but she didn't have money to help us. So I had to do a lot of this on my own, figure it out, find my way, learn from the best, pay it forward when I ended up having money. And I believe in all of that. But right now, with that background in mind, so you know who I am, I mean it when I talk about those C's: cash, cars, credit scores, credit cards, co-signing, consequences, communication. It all matters to your children. It matters to your children no matter what age they are. But I'm telling you, 15 to 30 are the toughest years. If you can get them to 15, then you've got another battle getting them from 15 to 30. unless they have money literacy and they have a support behind them to understand that there are consequences to all the mistakes they make with money. You cannot just turn a blind eye and say, oh, they're young, they'll figure it out. Not in this day and age, not with computers. That's another C. Computers track everything you do. In the old days, and I say that all the time because they really were different before computers and before ATMs and before all of this tracking of you in social media. You could get away with a mistake or two. You could be a young person and make a mistake or two, and it wouldn't be in a system that would follow you wherever you go. But now the system's not like that. It can follow you forever, and you have to make sure that your children know what's happening all the time so that they don't get this weight following them around and this anchor around their ankles following them wherever they go so that they can't work out of it. I know a lot of 30-year-olds that I've met whose credit scores are very awful, and it's impeded their progress in life. And they go, how can I fix it? And it takes years to fix it. It takes 1 month to ruin it. It takes a few mistakes to ruin it, and it takes years to make your credit better. It takes years to dig out of the hole. And I have some horror stories that I will share with you another time about how my credit was ruined by someone I was associated with. And I have to tell you, it brought me to tears. And I lost out on a good interest rate on a car because of it. So I'm not kidding around when I say these are important. So I am here to help. I want to do a few workshops. I want to do teen money literacy. I want you to like and subscribe. I really want to get followers. I want to prove that parents care. Parents and guardians care about the future of their kids. And it's important to understand that all of these things matter when they're teenagers. It doesn't just matter when they're 28 and getting married. It matters when they're 15 and getting their permit, and it's 16 when they get their license, 18 when they go to college, 20 when they move out, 22 when they get their first job. All of these things matter now. Don't skip over any of them. And believe me, I know that it's hard to sit down with teenagers at a table and get them to listen. I know teenagers are undaunted. They are immortal, and they know everything. And I love them. And I have a great rapport with teenagers. In fact, my daughter always says, Mom, you just really have a rapport with teenagers. I really support what you're doing. And so please let me do it. So like and subscribe this video. I'm going to do a series on teen money literacy, and I'm going to try and go further with it. And I would appreciate your support. We're going to do this together. We're not in this alone. It takes a lot of people to get a teenager safely into adulthood. And I'm one of the ones that believes passionately that we should do it. So thank you very much. Again, I'm Robin Da Vinci. You can go to robindavinci.com and see a series of my videos. I talk about all the subjects for young adults and for adults. And I want you to know that I'm here for you. So please like and subscribe, get people to watch and understand that I can help you. So thank you so much.